the WNBA is in grave danger, I would say. You've got issues with players who are not making money in Russia any longer. They're going to put pressure on the WNBA. The WNBA has been inflexible even when there's free stuff that gives them an ability to grow the game, and the CBA will do nothing to pay these players what they are worth. And the CBA is in place until 2027. That is an 8-year-long CBA. They got that deal done 2020, and it does not end, it does not expire until 2027. So what does that all mean? For me, it means I've come to the reality and I've come to the conclusion that professional sports is broken. I mean, it's just up in front in the last month. You've got the Olympics, you've got baseball, you've got the WNBA. Let's just break down how this works. Very, very, very rich people get to a level in their life and in a status where they get included into a fraternity. 30 teams. In the WNBA, it's way less. So you get invited into this fraternity, you go through all the hoops, and you have billions of dollars at your disposal. You've made a killing in your life, and this is one of those final little infinity stones in your glove where you feel like you're a real person now. Something to complete you, something to go off and tell your friends about, something where you get free this and free that, box seats and charter planes and free shit and people oohing and awing over you because you own a sports team. Whatever sports team it is, it doesn't really even matter, and that is you. And those people, as my grandma would say, they don't get rich by giving it away. Right. They don't get rich by giving it away. And even when they are worth $5, $6, $7 billion, that mentality sticks. That cheap-ass, poor me mentality, despite them being worth literally more money than they could ever spend no matter what they wanted. Not even Phil Mickelson could spend $5 billion, and that is something that he probably would get close to, given his gambling issues. If you're a billionaire and you own a team and you're not willing to do whatever it takes to get that team to win, which is the entire point of owning a team, competing and playing to win, that's literally the only goal of a sports team is to win and to win at the highest level. And you're against the free market of paying players, the elite of the elite, as much as it takes for you to collect a team that will win. You're fucking cheap ass, and you don't deserve to own a team. Winners, which apparently you are not, winners do whatever it takes to win, no matter what. There's billionaires owning teams that would rather cheap out on everything. On their team, on how it's ran, on what their players make, on what their coaches make, because they still make enough money anyway. That, to me, is a problem. That, to me, is a gigantic problem that hampers the growth of a game that is struggling to get new consumers, get new eyeballs. Nobody fucking cares right now about the WNBA because they won't put money into it. The product is good. These girls put up buckets. The jerseys are nice. They're trying to figure out a way to get more people interested in the game. And then you do shit like this. Like, it's absolutely bonkers. So how do we fix the WNBA specifically? How do we fix it? My man Tom Ziller, I love Tom Ziller. He's got a great newsletter on Substack called Good Morning Basketball. He wrote, the salary cap is the problem right now for the WNBA. There's new energy and new resources available in and around women's sports. Literally 4 or 5 billionaires that own WNBA teams that have gotten walled off when they're trying to do whatever it takes to win. They're running into like, well, I want to pay Liz Cambage X, and I can't. And now Liz Cambage has left. And this is what he says more. There's more resources available in and around women's sports, but the league's conservative mindset is keeping it closed off to lots of potential growth. The WNBA has been so focused on mere survival for so long that it's unable to pivot into an expansionary strategy. The conservatism of the league is baked hard. crusted onto the WNBA to the point where moneybag investors like Joe Tsai and aces Mark Davis are unable to break the status quo. Fuck that. Fuck that. He proposes the WNBA adopt a similar structure as the EPL, where rich owners spend as much as they want to build a sustainable powerhouse, and then the rising tide lifts all ships. Who cares if a few teams in this league are killing, absolutely destroying, investing in marketing and branding and events and trying to make this the most sexy team, most sexy league as possible. That tide lifts every single WNBA team up. With Mark Lore, who is currently owning the Lynx, Joe Tsai, Mark Davis, they are begging, salivating as owners of other businesses who knows what it takes to grow something from scratch. All they want to do is do what it takes to grow the game, and the WNBA won't let them. Draconian rules that don't make no sense. So what we do know is the way that the WNBA has handled this is a nightmare. It's got to change because the league itself is growing. Ratings are way up over the last 2 years. Despite the pandemic, the league has new equity owners that include Condoleezza Rice and Nike. The valuation of the league and its franchises is supposed to be around $1 billion right now. Gross. And because we're pushing P, we're going to try to pivot hard away from hating the power structures of the WNBA and Major League Baseball and the Olympics. We're going to get away from that and just tell you about really fast, this very side road about Dawn Staley, who could have been the coach of the Portland Trailblazers if they would have done the right thing. Same thing with Becky Hammon, actually, but no shade to Chauncey Billups. There's a terrific story on Anscape, which used to be called The Undefeated. They've changed names. About her incredible influence on the world of women's basketball, and in this case, black female head coaches. Back in 2015, Staley received a piece of the net cut down by Carolyn Peck, head coach of the Purdue Boilermakers, who won the title in 1999, making her the first black head coach in history to win a title in the NCAA. And that act of kindness, doing what the WNBA should be doing, which is literally pulling people from behind up to lift them, to see what's possible, to make sure that you're making the world a better place for the generations after you. That act of kindness influenced Dawn Staley to the point where she cut her own NCAA championship net from 2017 into 90 pieces and sent them to black female head coaches in basketball. This move, she said, connected them all together in an unbreakable bond. That's what we need more in sports, is for people to know how they fit into the greater puzzle of things. How great is that? Nicole Powell, a young black head coach at UC Riverside, said, Dawn Staley's move is getting me to think bigger. We all need, as people, and especially in these leagues, to think bigger. How can we support others, other coaches, other people younger than ourselves at whatever level? Veteran coach Diane Richardson of the Towson Tigers summed it up best. She says, I carry this piece of the net in my backpack as a reminder of the generosity of Dawn, but also the vision, and for us to aspire to do things like this. Lift the people below you up, and they will do the same. She said, it was emotional for me because I know how important it is to hold on to the nets and all of those things for your championship. She felt strong enough about us and this fight for her to cut it up and share it with us. And that's the legacy. That is the legacy that the WNBA needs to impart. That's the legacy that that even other leagues that are not related to basketball need to think about doing that. And it also slightly, in the midst of all this craziness, gives me hope that despite how broken things are now, things can change with one or two people. The number of female black coaches in women's basketball has doubled in the past 20 years, and the game is better for it. Because these days, with all this shit happening, we need a symbol of hope that tomorrow is going to be better than today, even if it's something as small and simple as a piece of a championship net.